Hello and welcome to the Brutal Iron Gym podcast, where our goal is to cut through the BS and deliver the brutal truth about topics related to health and happiness. So today's topic is a personal trainer education topic, and I would love to do these more often, so I'm going to be putting them in, and I'll be asking you now and at the end that if there are any personal trainers out there who would like a topic discussed or they have a question that would fit into this kind of category, to please let us know. Shoot us an email at brutalirongym@gmail.com and we'll help you out, okay? So, I have one of my favorite part of my job is that I get to work with other trainers. So, I used to teach at a local university for 7 years. And then when I got out of teaching to run the gym, I continued working with the university as kind of like an internship site. And we've had a bunch of interns come in learning how to either do business or personal training, kind of coaching type stuff. And so I've kind of worked with that realm of helping other trainers for a long time. And I do ghostwriting for some trainers where if they have clients who have certain issues and problems they don't know how to solve yet, instead of giving up the client and giving up the opportunity to learn and to make money, they'll hire me to help them with the programming for that client. So I'll write the programming for them so the client can get safe, effective programming, and then the trainer kind of learns what the heck that is and how it works and what the concept is as they take the client through it. So it's really cool. I've been doing that for a while now. Like I said, like 5-10 years. And one of the newer things that kind of came up has been with the growth of the gym getting outside the walls of the gym now. I've been doing some more like email communication, Skype type things, where a trainer will, send me an email about something. We'll set up a Skype meeting. We kind of talk through their programming and just kind of like an advisory or consultant type kind of process. So the Skype thing has been something that's new. So that's kind of just cool and fun. It's always fun when business opportunities kind of grow and change over time. It just makes things more neat and exciting every day. So, since that has been growing, and a lot of personal trainers are listening to the podcast and sending in topic suggestions and also just asking questions that I've helped on the side, like about my experience with opening the gym. And like I've been a personal trainer now for 17 years, so just kind of like how I've navigated that financially and made a career out of it in a very changing field. So that's been fun stuff. So if you have any questions you would like to ask about personal training in any capacity, shoot us an email at brutalirongym@gmail.com and we'll start answering those as part of these podcasts. So today what I wanted to talk about was the concept of your clients changing exercises on their own. So if you have listened to this part so far and you are not a trainer, this is still extremely, extremely helpful for you because you're going to get to learn the information behind this. So rather than waiting for a trainer to tell you this, you get to learn it right now, okay? So again, the topic is clients changing exercises on their own. So recently in one of the kind of consultant type things I did with a trainer, they were telling me how their experience went with one of their last clients. And we kind of talked through that session that they did in person with their client, and then we had kind of like mentioned and discussed the workouts the client was doing on their own. And I'd ask them, like, hey, is the client getting through those workouts on their own? Because you have to make sure they're progressing on that stuff, so that way the stuff you do together works and blah, blah, blah. And they said, yeah, they did their own workout. They did their workouts on their own, but they changed up the exercises. And then they kind of almost went to continue to talk, and I was like, whoa, hold on. I was like, oh, that's a big thing. I was like, we got to pause here for a second. So what we discussed was that it's not... and we're going to go through in the podcast here, it's not good if clients change the exercises in their programs on their own without any guidance or any knowledge of what they're doing or why. And so let's go through and kind of discuss this. And it's very good for the client to know, and it's also good for you as a trainer to control that. Okay? So in general, when I teach people how to write programming, one of the things I love is when you only get to see your clients in person for a smaller portion of the amount of time they're going to be in the gym. So maybe you have a 30-minute session once a week, and then they train 3 or 4 times on their own, or even an hour session even. and they train 3 or 4 times on their own, you're only with them, what's that, like 33% to 25% of the training? So they're going to be spending the majority of the training kind of trying to train themselves, teach themselves. So you're their guide, but you can't be there for every moment, every rep, every set, all that stuff. So one of the things I promote to do is to send URLs in your programming. Is like when you write an exercise for somebody, say, dumbbell stiff leg deadlifts, is to include a URL underneath that exercise name where they could go to a video online on YouTube. Typically it's YouTube. It can be like bodybuilding.com has a really cool exercise guide. There's other ones out there. There's even apps on your phone nowadays. But anyhow, you're sending a connection for that client to watch a video. So one of my favorite videos to include for stiff leg deadlifts is a video that compares the difference between Romanian deadlifts and stiff leg deadlifts. So that way they actually know which one they're doing, and they're actually focusing on the right muscle. So not only is it excellent for them to know for safety purposes, so that way they're not going to hurt themselves, so they don't come back and be like, I did those stiff leg deadlifts and my lower back was killing me. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, well let me teach you how to do that. Well, that's not going to be good. It's good to teach them before they get injured or get annoyed. And then often what you teach them, they're going to forget anyhow. So you'll have taught them a few cues. Maybe to stay on their heels, that a stiff leg deadlift actually doesn't mean your legs are locked out. It just means the angle of the knee doesn't change much. It's more of a hinge from the hip rather than a bend at the knee. You're going to teach them to have, kind of their upper body brace, their core brace. You're teaching them a lot of things. So they might forget a few of those things, and all of a sudden the exercise kind of feels like funky or feels annoying to their body. Whereas if you have that URL or that video, they can kind of click on that, refresh their memory on what was going on, and then they can kind of go and have a better chance on their own. So I love, love, love that, and I do that as much as I can or as much as I need for the clients I work with. So if I have somebody for a longer period of time, if it's the, 6th, 7th, 8th month of their training, and they've done, stiff leg deadlifts 3 or 4 times before in their programming, I'm not going to include the URL every time. So it's kind of like whenever it's something new or something that I know they might have an issue with. So I try to include URLs and videos. And like I said, it's great for safety, great to ensure that they get better results. And not only is that good for them, but it's good for you. If they're going to get better results, it's going to make you look better as a trainer. They're going to feel more confident with what's going on and tell more friends. So you get more referrals and more word of mouth. And then also clients feel more supported by you. So if you just write an exercise name and they look at it and they go, what the hell's that? And they don't know how to do it, they're going to feel kind of lost. Whereas if you have the exercise name and you took the time to find a good video for them, they're going to feel more supported by you and that you actually care. So that's going to help kind of just solidify the relationship between you and your client and help you have more client retention rate, like a higher retention rate over time. Okay? And then also, when you write exercise names, it's excellent and amazing and wonderful and definitely important to do, and I used to teach this at the university all the time, is that the exercise name has to be something the person can Google or search on YouTube and find a video for. So if you just write dumbbell thing, that is not an appropriate, like dumbbell bicep thing, and be like, oh, they'll remember, we covered it in person. Bullshit, they're not going to remember everything, okay? So you have to actually write the real name. And I did have people do this before. So I have worked with trainers who did stuff like that and students at the university who would write stuff like that. Like they would just write dumbbell shoulder warm-up. And I was like, well, what was the warm-up? Like, what did you do with them? And they're like, oh, yeah, we did this, this, and this. And it'd be like 3 or 4 things. And they're like, well, they remember. And I'm like, you only did it with them once. There's no way in hell they're going to remember all that. So you have to either make a video yourself. And as a trainer, it would be great for you to have a YouTube page, social media page, stuff like that, be out there for people to see, so you can actually make a specific video for your client. So on our YouTube channel for Brutal Iron Gym, I probably have like 1,000 unlisted videos, where it's just me talking to the camera at my client, like I'll actually use their name, so like Billy Joe. So I'll say, hey Billy Joe, this is remember we talked about this, this, and this, so when you do this movement, I want you to focus on that as well. So make sure you do this stuff on your own. Done. So I'll actually just send them the direct link, so that way they can just look it up. It makes it easy for me. It's informal. I don't have to try to make it, overly presentable. So it's just easier sometimes to do that for clients. So I do that all the time. It's great, and they feel supported by that stuff. Then, if there's an exercise name that they can search and look for, even if you forget to do a URL, or if you're like, oh, I thought they knew that, and you didn't include a URL, they'll be able to look it up themselves. So you're kind of empowering them. So as much as you want to do what you can for them, you want to empower them to help themselves, and then make sure you're both working together. So if I ever had a client say, like, well, I didn't know how to do it and you didn't write a URL, and they had that tone, I'd be like, well, the exercise name is something that you can type into Google, and you can find a video if you'd like one. So I will try to include a video in the future, but also remember that you have the power to use the internet, and you can look that stuff up too. So very passive-aggressive, me being an asshole, after they're passive-aggressive being an asshole. But again, it's working together. So you want to, if a client does kind of snip at you, understand that they might just be having a bad day. So don't get all snippy right back at them. But also don't take that crap. Don't let them think that you have to hold their hand all the time. So I remember I had a client once who thought that I would grab the weights for them all the time. Okay, by the way, this would be a whole nother video, a whole nother podcast, is do not hand your clients weights all the time. Okay? They're a grown-ass adult. They can pick up the stuff themselves. It empowers them. You're not a butler. They can take care of their own shit. So, like, I used to have a client once where the first time, like, I would show them an exercise and hand them the dumbbells. And then, like, when they would get done, they would, like, reach back to hand them back to me. And I'd be like, oh, we can just kind of put them on the rack, or you can put them down on the bench. We'll take a break. And they would look kind of confused. So then the next time I would say, hey, you did really good with those. Let's move up to this next weight. And then I'd stand there and wait for them to grab them. They'd be standing there waiting for me to hand them to them. They're a grown-ass adult, and they're standing right next to the weights themselves. So I remember I actually told the one client, I said, hey, you're here to work out. You can probably go ahead and expend the energy to pick those up. Okay? This is what you got to learn, how to use the gym on your own. This is part of the process. And usually my clients will know that I'm not a total asshole because of the way in which you try to teach with compassion. You care about them, you listen to things, you adjust everything based on what you think they need. So you're supportive and you're part of the process. Everything's working together. So if you need a poke every now and then and get them to do something, it's okay, assuming you've already shown love and compassion. I do never carry my cell phone when I'm with clients, so I'm not going to be texting my friend while I'm supposed to be training my client. That's bullshit. So if you carry a cell phone and you train people, don't do that. Okay, if you think, well, I track stuff on my cell phone. No, it looks like you're texting. Just pull out a pen and paper, write that shit on paper. It looks way better. Do not carry your cell phone with clients. Well, it's what I use as my timer. Buy a wristwatch. Okay? Throw away whatever excuse you have. Don't carry cell phones when you're training clients. Okay? You'll look distracted. You will be distracted. And your client will know that. And your client should expect better than that. Okay? They are paying for your time and attention. So make sure you give that to them. So that might be a whole other one. Podcast. But that's the idea. So when you have programs you write for clients, you write the exercise name in a way they can search on YouTube. So that way, if the URL you give them either doesn't work for some reason, maybe it worked on your computer but it doesn't work on their cell phone, maybe there was something wrong with the way the URL was written, or anything, like any issue might come up, it just kind of gives you a double system. So they have the exercise name they can Google and search, and then you also have the video you'd want them to look at. Okay? So the reason why we don't want our clients to change exercises on their own, I'm going to go through a quick list here, is the exercise that you selected in their programming should have been specific to their abilities and their needs. Okay? So it was the right exercise for them. So if they don't know that, or if you don't ever tell them, and you just let them switch and change exercises, that means that their programming is becoming less and less efficient. It's also becoming less and less personalized and specific to their abilities and needs. They're going to get less results. They're going to be less content with the programming because all of a sudden they'll pick something that doesn't quite match their ability. They'll get frustrated and they'll kind of feel negative about the training. So that's not good for either party. They don't get good results. You don't get a good kind of feel of connection with that client. And therefore they're more likely to leave sooner than later. Okay? And also, that big caveat, meaning you should have picked exercises specific for your clients. So I am not a fan of bulk programming, where you write a workout that's like, say, lower body for beginners, and you're like, yeah, this works for most people. I'm just going to copy and paste this and give this to my next 20 clients. You're an asshole if you do that. Okay? Look back through the program. Make sure If it's like if you have like walking lunges, make sure that person's actually capable of doing a walking lunge safely and correctly. So there are sometimes people who are beginners and maybe they only weigh 120 pounds. They're kind of skinny fat, so they can handle their own body weight. Then you have people who are beginners who maybe they're heavier. They can't handle their own body weight. Their strength is maybe in their lower back, not in their hips and thighs. So they're going to have a hard time doing walking lunges. If you just leave that in there, their knees are going to hurt, their ankles are going to hurt. They're going to be like hanging onto equipment trying to do it. Nothing's going to feel comfortable for them. They're going to feel like exercise is misery, which is going to feel miserable because what they're doing doesn't match. They're going to hate exercise even more than they already did. They're going to give up on exercise, give up on trying to live a healthy life, and then they're going to be unhappy and unhealthy all because you're an asshole and you won't look at the exercises that you give your clients. Okay? So make sure you look over, if you do like kind of a set program, and then you just modify from that, okay, that is a way to save time, but make sure you're being honest and you're actually looking through the programming. So I actually write everything brand new for my clients. Every single time I write it. Takes way longer, but it keeps me fresh in my knowledge. So that way, as I'm learning things from week to week to week, I'm using the information of that week for that client. So I'm not using some bulk program I wrote 6 months ago that had the knowledge of me 6 months ago. My clients are getting the best of what I know right now. So that way, they're getting the best progress results. I'm staying more active and excited in my job because I get to do new information, new stuff all the time. I get to share information, which is exciting. I'm not doing, oh, ho-hum, here's another program, blah, blah, blah. So it's kind of like new that you get to create stuff. So it's really important that you actually do write programming specific to your client. So that way, this first rule of why they shouldn't change it, in the sense that it is specific for them, is actually true. Okay? You want it to be true. So, also another reason why is when clients substitute stuff, they'll tend to substitute things that they're already good at or that they find as an easy challenge. So if you have something in there that they're like, I don't know what that is, and I hate those, so I'm just going to do this instead. That this that they pick is always something they're already pretty good at, and it's already something that's like, they'll be like, oh, it was hard. No, it was the same level of hard that you've always had, which is why you always look the same. We have to get new levels of hard so you can get a new body. So if you give them the power to choose, they're always going to be lazy. They're going to pick whatever they're good at already and whatever is a familiar challenge. Okay? That means the workout's going to be less effective. They're going to get less results. That's less benefits to them. They're going to be less happy with your programming, less good word of mouth, less good referrals, less client retention. Okay? So, also, by telling them and showing them that what you're picking for them is specific for them, and they need to do that because that's the best for them and their results, that reinforces your value to them in being able to pick the right exercises. Hell, if they could just go through the program and plug in whatever they wanted, why the hell do they need you? Okay? They would just need a basic structure that they can find online from every other asshole trainer that sells that stuff for $20. If they're going to pick you and value you, it has to be because you can show them things that are specific to their needs. Okay? So, another thing we have is also just a self-respect thing. If clients go through and change your workout, it will and it should kind of piss you off a little bit because you should have taken time to really make sure that their program was personalized and good for them. And then whenever they change it, it's okay if you were like, damn it, what the hell? That was the right thing for you. Why'd you change that? And I don't mean to get mad at them and yell at them, but it should frustrate you. You should have an emotional feeling to a small degree. Don't go psycho and start crying. But you should have some effect when somebody goes, oh, I changed that exercise. There should be something in you that goes, ugh. So that doesn't like that. If you don't care, that is not good. Okay? As a trainer, you should care that they did the thing that you took the time to write for them because you knew it was the best for them. Okay? So it's okay if you get a little annoyed or a little bit mad. Now, you have to express that and teach them and do it in a loving way. Don't just, be like, what the hell? I wrote that thing for you. Why the hell are you changing it? Don't be doing that. That's not effective for anybody or necessary at all. So, but it should bug you if somebody changes stuff. Okay? So take that opportunity. If you are presented with somebody changing an exercise, take that opportunity to teach them why you chose the exercise that you chose. Okay? Educate them on why that one that you picked was best for them. Then educate them on acceptable alternatives So that way, if they ever did need to change it in the future for whatever reason, you could show them what would be the best things for them to change it to. Okay? Again, this reinforces your value, and then also just you being good at your job. You're teaching them empowerment. You're teaching them knowledge. You're teaching them how to train themselves eventually over time. So you don't want your clients being dependent on you. That is not your job as a personal trainer. Your job as a personal trainer is to educate them on health and fitness, on how to take care of their own lives, their own health and fitness. I promise you clients will still stay with you over time. So I've had the gym now for 8 years. I've had clients for 8 years. I've had actually clients longer than I've had the gym. So they will continue to come to you if you're continuing to learn new things and present them with new challenges, new fun information. So I remember I had a client one time. He came in, big dude, strong as hell, stronger than me. And he came in, he's like, hey, I want to learn some chest workouts. I already have a whole gym at my house. I already know what I'm doing. I already trained some friends. I just need some new ideas for dumbbell exercises for chest. And so the first night I showed him a workout. I then wrote him a handout that was 50 ways to do dumbbell presses. So that way he had a different way for each week of the year. And he wrote back, he said, holy shit, I didn't know there was that many. He goes, can we meet again? And I said, yeah, sure, we'll meet. We met on Tuesday. I said, well, if you're free Thursday, I can meet you Thursday night. Well, all of a sudden, we ended up training twice a week for over a year and a half. And for the entire duration of us training together, we never did the exact same chest workout. So that was well over 100 chest workouts. I made sure they were different every single time in some way. We either did different exercises, we did different technique schemes, like supersets, circuits, giant sets, supersets. You can do drop sets, rest pause, slow and go, tempo reps, force negatives. So you can see there's like a bunch of categories here. And within each of those categories, you can do things with different time and retention structures and different tempo structures. So we were able to switch up and make a lot of fun new exercises for him. And he ended up hanging around for longer and longer than I ever expected. So don't be afraid to empower your people. They will still stay with you, okay? You don't want slaves, you want friends. So that's the goal, okay? So make your clients your friends, educate them, do everything for them that you would want done for you. You'll be amazed how well that works in business, okay? So now, if you ask your clients, don't change things. Just follow the program as written. They're going to have a couple responses, okay? One of them is going to say, but I didn't have time to look up the video. You gave me the URL, you gave me the video, but I didn't really have time to look that up, so I just kind of did this and this and this instead. So tell them that they need to plan better for their life. So if they are paying you to write the program, it is in their best interest to follow the program, or they might as well throw their money in the trash. Why in the world are they paying you if they aren't going to follow what you tell them? Okay, so give them that one-time pass. Like I said, teach them on what maybe would have been a better option for them to exchange to, and then tell them in the future, hey, if you can, look up those URLs before you go to the gym. So there might only be 3 or 4 in the whole workout, so it might take them 5 minutes in total. So when they get to the parking lot, take the 5 minutes, look up the videos, make sure you understand them, and then go into the gym. So plan a little better next time, plan ahead next time, and then, hey, in case next time you need to change it, here's the stuff you should change to. Okay, so that's one of the ways you can respond to that. Another response you might get is, but they didn't have the equipment for that exercise. Well, that's on you. If you wrote an exercise that they didn't have equipment for, that's your problem as a trainer, okay, not theirs. They can't magically make equipment poof out of the no with nothing. So if you need to know what equipment they have access to, where do they train? So I train a lot of people, write programming for a lot of people that I don't actually train in person at my own gym. So actually well over half the people I work with don't ever come to Brutal Iron Gym. So what we do is we either educate here and then they train at another facility, or we're working with online people. So I need to look up the gym. Like if they work at a Gold's Gym, I'll look up on a website, I'll see what kind of equipment they have. I'll even work with the client sometimes and say, hey, here's an exercise. I don't know if they're going to have this machine. If they don't, here's an alternative. And I'll write that into their program. Then if they did have something, they're like, hey, our gym doesn't have a hack squat. I'll laugh and say, your gym sucks. But here's what you can do instead. So you substitute that out, you make the change on the program, rewrite it, and then resend it to them. Don't leave the program with mistakes in it. So that way, if they want to look back at that program in 6 months or a year, it'll actually still work. So rewrite it, send it to them, so that way they have a good copy that'll work in the future. Okay? And then also, if they train at their home, make sure you know what they have. Ask what they have. I have clients send me videos or lists all the time. So videos are way easier. But they'll just send me a video, kind of like a 360 panorama around their gym, and then I can kind of pause the video, see what they got, and make the exercises work for them. So I just recently did that for somebody. I wrote leg workouts for a guy who wanted to get stronger and bigger. So I said, well, just shoot me a video of what you got at their house, and I'll make your workout for it. So we did it. So it worked great. So if they don't have the equipment for the exercise that you wrote, that's your problem as a trainer. You need to make sure you write stuff that they can actually do. Okay? They might say, this is the last answer you might get that we're going to cover here in the podcast, is when you'd say, like, man, why'd you change exercise? They'll say, I didn't think it mattered. And that's often the case because one of my favorite quotes is, you don't know what you don't know until you know that you don't know it. And one of the reasons why I love that quote is it is true that you don't know what you don't know. So you'll think you know everything until somebody presents you with new information that enlightens you to the fact that you don't know everything. Okay? So a client isn't going to know what they don't know. So you can't get mad at them for not knowing that it mattered when you never taught them that it mattered. So that's on you as the teacher, the educator. Okay? You need to find out what they don't know. You need to fill in those gaps. That's your job. So if you're a trainer, you're a teacher. Okay? Same thing. Same title, basically. So that's your opportunity to teach them why it matters. And that gives more value to you and your services. That gives more value to them because now they're actually going to know why things are different, why there are different exercises, what are the purposes and the points of the different exercises. And that's going to help them in the future learn how to best focus their training specific to their needs again. That's going to get better results for them, better excitement for them, better word of mouth, better, all around for better both people. So don't ever get mad at your clients for not knowing something. That's not their fault. They didn't know they didn't know it. Okay? It's your job to teach them why it matters. Okay? So there's a little rundown on if you do have clients who kind of change exercises out on their own, don't let them do that. That is not in your best interest or their best interest for all of the reasons that we just discussed. So work with them, find out why they changed it out. Maybe it annoyed their knee, or maybe it hurt their shoulder. Awesome. It's a good thing they got away from hurting themselves. Good thing they got away from that exercise. So work with them and find a better substitute. Okay? So don't always assume that they're changing it for bad reasons. They might be changing it for a very good reason. So just kind of work with them, ask them questions, and find a better solution. But make sure you both move forward with what is the best option for them and making sure they're going to get the best results. Okay? Cool. So hopefully personal trainers out there loved this. Well, at least liked it. I don't know about loved it. Hopefully you found this helpful in some way. That's a better way to say it. And then if you're just a general population person, you're not a trainer, hopefully you thought this was interesting or helpful because it was just kind of neat information to learn. So if there are any ideas or any feedback from trainers that you would like to know more about or cover in these podcasts, let me know. We're going to keep this as kind of one of our rotational podcasts, and we want to cover everything you want to know about personal training as a business or social media type stuff, promotion, or dealing with clients and programming and stuff like that. Okay? So hopefully it was helpful. So if you like this information, you can find more from us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, Brutal Iron Gym. Also, if you like the podcast, please share it with family and friends. So the more people we help, the happier the world will be. And if you have any questions, feedback, or suggestions, we would love, 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 love to hear from you. So the podcast is for you, so we want to know what you want to learn about. Okay? Our email is brutaliron@gmail.com. As always, I hope this was helpful, and thank you for listening.